In this video, I'm making a Pokemon fighting pit where the most violent and most intense underground Pokemon battles happen. This video is sponsored by Asus and their brand new ProArt display. This is the scale of an attendee to my Pokemon fighting pit, and using this I'm going to find the size of the Pokemon and the size of the arena. How tall is Pikachu? 41 centimeters, 1.4 feet tall. Oh my god. That's small, that big. You know what? I've got to do this accurate to Pokemon, and that's just going to make it even more dark. There's this cute little rodent in the arena. Let's do it. Starting, of course, with the arena. The plan for my fighting pit is to have a lowered area, kind of like the Sarlacc pit in Star Wars, where the Pokemon can be unleashed from their Pokeballs into another area that they can't escape from. This pit will, of course, have various dangerous things like spikes and rocks, maybe some bars or chains, and the floor will be stained with blood. Then we have an elevated viewing area, where the attendees of these matches will be able to onlook with joy and excitement as the Pokemon brutality below takes place. I've only just realized this scene sort of exists in Detective Pikachu. There's like this underground fighting arena thing. It's not exactly the same as what I'm picturing here, but take inspiration from it. Maybe I already have, subconsciously. Time to launch into making the foundation of my Pokemon fighting pit. Using large sheets of foam to block in all of the pieces and put the core structure in place. All right, so I have the blocking of my arena. Two things. One, I went with an octagon, or at least half of an octagon. Second, it's not a straight up half of an octagon. It's actually got a bit of false perspective where it's bigger at the front end. The idea being that, well, essentially I'm building tiny film sets because we're just making cool stuff to show you in videos. And I want it to feel like a grand scale. So knowing that the camera is gonna generally be lower from the perspective of Pokemon, having it bigger at the front is gonna help us achieve a bit of that sense of scale. I am going to get Amy's help to start decorating and detailing our octagon with some of those gnarly details. Here's a reference image, Amy, and I've got to get started on our first combatant. I start wherever I start with any sculpture, and that is of course with the armature. Poor Pikachu is going to be in for a world of pain from the very beginning because I have to shove a stick up his bowl. Then it's just a matter of mixing up the perfect Pikachu yellow. As I start shaping this together, I'm realizing this is going to be a bit of a challenge. I'm starting to get the body and head and limbs shaped together, but the ears and the tail, the bits that are going to dangle out, need support and they're going to get bumped and scuffed a lot. So I tuck the body off to the side and sculpt those bits, shaping them as neatly as I can and putting a little bit of a toothpick inside to create a connection point and then pop them into bake. Then with my freshly baked Pikachu bits ready to go, it's back to the body. Getting the silhouette and shape right really matter, so I really tried to finesse it and get a really great Pikachu-esque shape. Now we're going to add our little bits of gritty details, starting off with the wraps, which are going to go around his hands, something that to me just feels like scrappy Fight Club style fighting. And of course, I had previously sculpted and baked a crowbar. All in all, I think my gritty Pikachu looks really good, a great balance between classic cartoon Pikachu and bringing in that fighting edge that we're going for in this piece. Now, while I've been working on Pikachu over here, Amy has been decorating our delightful fighting pit. Anything that would make it feel like an abandoned warehouse. Now, while Amy's finishing the setup of our brutal Pokemon arena, it's time for me to set up my new beautiful ProArt display. I have used hundreds of drawing tablets and monitors over the years. This is the one that really, for me, gets it seamlessly. Now, the ProArt pen comes with Wacom technology and has 4096 levels of pressure sensitivity, and the display is a 15.6-inch 4K UHD display. Not only does it feel sturdy enough to be able to use in a studio environment and and on a daily basis, but it's also portable and light enough to be able to pack up and take with you on the go. Can be neatly and safely packed away with you with one cable and your pen. So take it from me, because this is going to be my new daily driver when it comes to creating digital art. I'm going to be taking it with me at home and into the studio because I do have a lot of on-the-go creative needs. I'll put the link to my vlog and review in the description, as well as, of course, the link to the brand new Asus ProArt pen display. A huge thank you to Asus for sponsoring this video and for making this. It's small and light and packs a punch, just like some of our fighting contenders in this video. Let's get back to the diorama, shall we? It's starting to come together. Look at this. Amy has done an amazing job decorating the bones that are set up for the fighting pit, and badass Pikachu looks pretty badass. The upper floor is going to be filled with characters this size overlooking the illegal fight happening below. Now it's time to create the opponent of Pikachu. This guy needs to be the underdog and in for a big fight. It's just going to create more drama and be more fun. So I'm thinking Machamp, because he's got 4 big arms to bash into this little guy with. He's going to be a challenging sculpt, and he just looks like a fighter that would work well in a pit. So then it comes down to size. I looked it up, and Machamp is 5'4", so just below the height of this reference here, which is perfect because I built the whole arena based on that scale. So Pikachu, I think you're in for a pounding, buddy. So knowing that Machamp is 5.4 foot tall, I did a sketch of Machamp at the scale of my reference character's silhouette. And then using that, created an armature using aluminium wire and layers of tin foil and thinner wire. I started off with the blocking of the clay sculpture of just the legs. I figured if I nail these and bake them to completion, it means I can then hold him by the legs while I sculpt the rest of his body. So after a bit of hand baking using my heat gun and twirling the model around, it's time to move on to the main event. Machamp's macho, muscular upper body. I found a bit of a rhythm to sculpting anatomy, that is starting off by the blocking. As you can see, it's just sort of finding the general forms of where the different areas of anatomy distribution go. But after that, it goes to a more shaping place, getting fine-tuning and finicky. Last but not least, the details. Using silicone shapers to carve out some of those joining areas between the muscles and add that detail that makes him look super ripped. With all the hands as clenched fists and all of his muscles tensed and bulging, it's time to bake this bad boy. And now on to some of the final details. Putting on the features of the face, which has so far just been a weird little lump in the middle of his neck, hopefully is slowly transformed into a familiar Pokémon. Then of course his lovely black underpants and wrestling belt. And last but not least, we come to the feet. I've been careful to try and find a weight balance so far, and I'm actually really happy with where it's ended up, and doing the feet very last gives me that extra bit of control over stability, so I can mostly rely on putting him down in a way that he stands up. Now, as much fun as I'm having polymer clay sculpting, I want to fill this venue with lots of people, and I don't really have the time to do lots of people by hand, so we have 3D printed a whole bunch of Pokemon characters from the Pokemon universe and games that we found online. There's a bunch more we're cleaning up, and I have these 2 to be my trainers who are battling. This businessman wielding his Pokeball and looking over and down the railing, which is perfect. And this guy, someone who looks like he probably gets into a few fights himself. So now we're going to divide and conquer with the painting. Murray is going to take over these characters and give them a really cool moody coloring tone, and I have a whole bunch of work to do on our arena. I have my characters. Now it's time to paint the pit. So I got Murray to paint these in a way that basically they're shadowed at the back so that it's like they're being hit by a light source from the front, and because they're airbrushed, it gives them this really soft look. Because most of these characters are going to be in the background, just sort of filling our scene a bit. But these two are our combatants. This guy is definitely the trainer of Machamp. He's got a bit of a Machamp vibe going on himself. This disappointed looking fellow has got to be Pikachu's trainer, and they will be standing at the front here overlooking the rails. So for the lighting, I'm going to have this upper floor to be sort of blues and purples and quite dark because the spotlight is on the fighting pit below, like, you know, a real show is happening. To achieve this, I coat everything in dark colors with a flat black as a base and slowly mottling in different colors like purples, blues and greens just to create a variety underneath. Then I start popping in some highlight colors, sticking to the spray paint for now because this is a really simple way to create directional lighting. Anywhere that the spray can hit is anywhere that light can hit. And with my vibrant foundation set up, it's then on to just sponging and dry brushing to bring the pop and texture of my arena to life. A huge thank you as always to my patrons for making ambitious projects like this possible, and an extra special thanks to our newest legend patron, Michelle Bergin. Thank you so much for joining the Arty Party, and anyone else who wants to join my Patreon is a great way to get extra exclusive content and early previews to these videos and a huge support to my content. Thanks guys. Then it's just a matter of gluing the attendees and the trainers in place. And last but not least, painting a few final details of a little bit of blood. And putting them in place for their big fight. Let's get ready for the fight of a lifetime! In the left corner, don't let his size catch you off guard. He's got an electric spark that will take any opponent to Pound Town. It's Pikachu! In the right corner, someone who should surely have been reserved for a higher weight category, Machamp! Let's get ready to battle! So this project was absurdly big and fun, considering that it wouldn't have been able to be this big without the help of my team. Huge thank you to Amy and Murray for helping make this possible, and now this exists. Brutal, underground, illegal, violent Pokemon fight. Just the way they should be. Thanks so much for watching everyone. Hit the like button and subscribe for more fun with art and creativity of all sorts, and of course, leave a comment to let me know what you want to see next. Otherwise, that's it for now, and until next time, I'll see you later.